Hey everybody, hope you're having an awesome day. I know it's kind of nuts. People are going stir crazy with this stay-at-home order. So I thought, I want to show you how to make a cool little robot. Maybe you can do it by yourself with your kids if you're looking for a fun little project. It's not super complicated and actually turns out pretty cool. Super simple project. Come on, let's see how to do it. Okay, for this project, what I wanted to do was I wanted it to be something simple that everybody had in their house because we can't really get out and get stuff with this stay-at-home order. So I am using, the main things that you'll need is a hot glue gun will be super helpful, a drill gun, because I am going to do a couple of little holes, but if you don't have a drill gun, that's okay. I can show you another way to drill some holes. Definitely I'm going to use an X-Acto knife. Hopefully you have one of those. And again, it's just using super simple supplies. I'm using the chopsticks for the legs. If you say, oh man, I don't have chopsticks, that's kind of the point of this project is there's all kinds of things in your house. You could use a pencil for the legs if you had old pencils, or you could even take paper, 8.5 by 11 paper, and roll it up into a really nice tight tube and tape it, and you can make legs that way. So the whole point of this project is there's so much stuff laying around your house and probably in a recycle bin that you could utilize. As I was mentioning, I got these really cool caps. I've been collecting these every time I have one of these little applesauce packs or something, and they're all a little bit different, but this one looks kind of like maybe a propeller on a underwater, jet or something. It's kind of cool. These looked like little cannon blasters, so I'm going to use these two here. I have these. I'm going to use a plastic spoon as part of the arm. So yeah, let's get into it. What I did was I took this vitamin water bottle, and I really loved the shape of this here. It looked like kind of something right out of Star Wars or something. So I peeled the sticker off, cleaned up the little gunky sticky stuff, and ended up with the water bottle here. Now, I have a Dremel, so I could have cut it with a Dremel, but again, for you folks at home that are like, I don't have a Dremel tool, I thought, what else could I cut this with? This is actually a really rigid plastic, and I had a really hard time cutting it with an X-Acto knife. So what I ended up doing is I just took my bread knife, and I sawed it in half. So if you've got a handsaw, or a bread knife, or a hacksaw, you can get this thing cut in half. You can do it with an X-Acto knife, it might just take a little bit longer. So what I did was I looked at kind of the shape here, and I wanted my robot to be a little bit kind of shorter and stubby, and then I'm gonna have some arms and then legs coming off. Now for the legs, I have this giant hole, and I kind of messed around with like, oh, what if I put this and glue that on? And I'm like, oh, I still have a hole. I don't want to do that. That's too big of a robot. So I looked at I had a chocolate milk bottle, and I was like, well, what if I did something with this? And then I thought, you know what, I actually like the height of this. So then I just found some cardboard in my recycle bin, and you'll be surprised how much junk you have in your recycle bin. I just bought a towel ring for my daughter's bathroom, so really nice piece of cardboard. There was just this random piece of cardboard. I have no clue what it is, so I ended up using that. You could use a cereal box. So what I did was, after I got this cut, one kind of just quick little note, I did take a little bit of sandpaper, and again, it is just this old ratty piece of sandpaper that I had, and I just hit it really quickly. Nothing too major. I'm not like being super detailed. In fact, I didn't even get in the grooves there, but this will just help the paint stick to it a little bit later. You could use spray paint. I'm going to use spray paint, but if you don't have spray paint, you could use craft paint if you're doing this with your kids. You can craft paint it. This will just help the paint to stick a little bit better. You don't have to do that. So anyways, I took my scrap cardboard, and I just laid it on here. I just took a pencil, and I kind of went underneath a little bit and got myself a nice little circle there. And then let me grab this for you really quick. I was playing with the chopsticks here and kind of figuring out, so I got this cut out, and I'm going to line this up here. I'm going to glue this on with hot glue, and it's not going to look super pretty, but that's okay, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of blob the glue so it almost looks like this is a piece of metal welded on, so it kind of has this cool look. And then I was kind of playing with the location of the feet and the legs. And so again, this is just the chopsticks here. And so I found, this is for me, you're going to have to experiment a little bit for yourself, but I had originally done some holes right smack in the middle, but it ended up being kind of top heavy and fell over. I found if I put the legs a little bit towards the back, when I put the arms on, it'll kind of balance out. So again, you'll have to kind of play around with that. The next step that I did was I took some bottle caps, and I'm going to use these as the feet. So what I did was I have one hole drilled here already, and really I just kind of eyeballed it kind of a little bit towards the back. And then for this little hole, I kind of cheated. I just put this over the top like so, took a Sharpie marker, and so I have kind of a hole in the same spot. So I'm going to go ahead and drill that hole really quick for you. You do want to hang on to it because it likes to grip and it'll kind of spin out of your hand really quick, but it's all right, no big deal. Okay, so I have 2 holes there. Now, to get the hole through the cardboard, when I first did my little test run, I had glued this all on, and then when I was trying to get the holes drilled through, I like pushed it and it went in. So I'm like, oh man, so I recommend before you glue it all together, go ahead and get your little marks. I actually just did the center point, drew a line right down the center, and then I kind of just eyeballed the 2 holes about 1 inch apart. I found for this, I can drill it with the drill, but it ends up a little bit easier, it seems to me, if I just take my X-Acto knife and I kind of just spin it like this. And I'm going to flip it over and open this up a little bit. And I'm not pushing hard at all. I'm just kind of letting it spin. And I'm not going to make the hole super big because what I kind of want is that tension and the chopstick has a little narrow point and then it goes a little bit thicker. So when I push that through, it'll actually kind of keep it nice and tight. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. That will allow me to put these in and then put them on my feet and kind of hold them. And what I'm doing right now is I'm kind of looking at the height of how I want my robot. I think, let me do this really quick. Oop. I think I want my little guy to be a little more stubby. Maybe somewhere in there. Let me turn it this way so you can kind of see. And again, this is totally up to you, what you want to do for your robot. So I'm liking that right there. You can see here kind of the height. It's, I don't know, maybe 2.5 inches, 3 inches. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the body and I'm going to kind of just set it on the cardboard, and I'm going to look at the height of the chopsticks here. So I got the body resting here, got the height of the chopsticks here, and I'm actually going to use the chopsticks to go all the way and touch the top here, and that'll just help stabilize it all the way through versus just cutting it off there and then they're kind of flimsy inside. So I'm going to just use that. So I'm going to kind of just eyeball it, take a pencil mark here, lost a foot, and I'm just going to mark one of those guys, and then I'll cut both of them to the same size. And both the exact same height. Now to cut these, all I did was I just took my X-Acto knife and I kind of just rolled it. I'm not going to cut all the way through, but for me, using these chopsticks, they are so kind of wimpy that I can just snap it like that. I'm going to save this because I'm going to use that for the arm later. I'm going to grab this one here and do the same thing for you. And snap. Looks good. Okay, so I have my base, I have my body, I have my 2 feet. I think it's time to get gluing. Hey, look at that. It looks kind of like a little monkey or something. His little eyes and nose. Okay. I'm going to put my feet in. Like so. Then I'm going to put the body on. And what I'm doing is I'm going to just push the body down, down until it touches. Perfect. So now that's going to be the height. And because that is touching there, I can pull this off and I can glue these on from the top and they're in a good spot for me. So let's go ahead and do that. While that's still hot, I'm just going to double check that. Oh, that looks really good. The next step will be to glue the feet on. So I'm going to let that dry for just a minute and then we'll come right back. Okay, that's looking pretty good. Dry enough that I can start kind of moving on. What I'm going to do next is I'm kind of holding this with my finger here and I'm going to just glob in. Again, nobody's going to see this, so I'm globbing in some hot glue underneath here, kind of around and around. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I know the angle is not the greatest for you there, but I'm going to go ahead and set it down and kind of just position the feet, push the chopsticks all the way down so they're touching the ground as well. So I just kind of position them. The glue is in there. It's just kind of globbed on. It might even be settling down onto my workstation. Nope, looks like we're okay. While those feet are drying, I want to start building the arms. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little applesauce lid and a water bottle lid, and I'm going to put the two together. So this is just a little personal thing. I have tried the hot glue, bloop, 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 but you can see my surface area is so small that it, like when I was working with my test run, this kept popping off. So I'm going to go ahead and super glue it. You can use the hot glue, you just have to be careful with it. Maybe even, I don't know, if you like globbed a whole bunch in and then put it on and let it kind of run down, the two would kind of fuse together. So what I'm going to do is I'm using this BSI, pretty nice glue. A friend of mine just put me onto this glue not too long ago and it has been a lifesaver. A lot of modelers and builders use this stuff. I was using just like super glue from, you know, Home Depot or the grocery store and just didn't work that great. This is kind of fun. While I'm letting this dry, I was just kind of hunting around and I found different hair gel caps, and this was like a mousse cap that my wife just got, and it's like, man, these things are really cool. I mean, maybe I could just glue that together and make a little robot out of this. I mean, there's so many really cool things around your house. Oh, this is kind of sweet. I was looking for some kind of body, and so my wife had little Keurig cups. Well, I took the whole thing apart, and I didn't know this, but inside is actually this little tiny coffee filter. So I ripped out the coffee filter, and then underneath that coffee filter was this little thing, which is like, man, I mean, I could potentially glue that on there and make it like an eyeball, or there's all kinds of really cool things laying around your house that you just have to kind of explore and be creative, think through and kind of think, what could this possibly be or become? So, all right, now what I want to do is take the body, and on the first round, I did a glob of glue around on the cardboard and then tried to put this on, but it didn't really kind of line up just right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my glob of glue around this, and then it should just sit right on there. Slide this on down. Get that. Ooh, hot, hot. Be careful that when they say it's hot glue, There's a reason they call it hot glue. Alright, now I am noticing that I pushed this down a little too far, so really quick before that glues all the way, I'm going to trim these just a smidge. I'm going to cheat. Okay. Now I think I gotta kind of glue this up again. Now it is getting super messy. Hot glue is really weird. It's super stringy and really kind of a mess. But fun fact, I learned this on a trip to Disneyland, that in the Haunted Mansion, all the spider webs, they are actually hot glue. There is a crew that goes in there. Oh, that fits much better, yeah. Oh, you know what I should have done really quick? Nuts. Oh no. This is getting messy. I want to glob some glue on here and maybe that'll stick to the roof just a little bit. Oh boy. That's all right. We can clean all this up. Okay. All right. See, I'm not professional at this. I'm just like you wanting to have fun. Make something cool. There we go. Look at that. It's all nice and tight on there. Looking good. He is falling over, but I think once we get our arms on, he will stand up, no problem. So for the arms, what I'm going to do is I took this spoon right here, and I cut it off. I just kind of eyeballed it, cut it off there. And I'm going to use this as kind of the shoulder guard, shoulder plate. And what I need to do is take this and I'm going to hot glue this chopstick into here, like so. And really what I want to do right now is figure out the angle of this first arm. I think I want the first arm kind of pointing out, because this is his right arm. And I almost want it to be like a blaster, you know, maybe he could be like, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to hot glue this onto here. I'm going to put this on here, and I do want to figure out like how long I want my arm. I don't think I want it to be that long, so I'm going to kind of go right in here somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this and then show you how I'll put it together. So here's just a little side note. I got the one arm done and I was getting the other one prepped, and I thought, oh, I did drill a hole through here, but if you're sitting there going, I don't have a drill, just like we did the cardboard, you can take your X-Acto knife and just kind of twist it and just keep doing that. And next thing you know, you'll have yourself a really nice little hole. Now, I kind of cheated a little. I know some of you may have noticed, so I thought I'd call it out. You don't have to do this. This is just me. I'm really kind of picky. I didn't love how it was resting out and kind of pushing out, so I took my Dremel and I just drilled a little tiny hole. If you have a drill gun, you might be able to kind of pick at it. You might take an X-Acto knife and kind of carve at it. So I think it can be done. And then I'm kind of aligning this arm so this gun will be shooting straight out. So I'm going to go ahead and hot glue that on. Let's do that. Okay, let's let it dry. Okay, our little guy is looking pretty cool. He's got his little blasters out. He's standing up. He is ready to rock and roll. Next steps, we're going to hit him with some primer, and then from there, I think you might see kind of the vision of where we can go with this. Well, here he is, all primed out. And once you prime it, it's like, oh wow, that's really cool. So from here, I'm leaving you on your own. This is up to your imagination now. You know, you could use something like a toothpick and make an antenna. I have these, I found this old pair of headphones that were broken, so I just snapped the wire off. I've got little wires here. Maybe, remember this little cap? Maybe it's some kind of thing that's glued onto there. I don't know. It's really the sky's the limit. Or you could just take a Sharpie marker and draw a cool face on there. You could take some fun little craft paint, paint it up. I want to show you my little guy that I did. So I still have a little bit of work to do on him. I want to do a little wash on him. I had some old model decals. I put that on. Some wires. I just drilled little holes in and put wires on. For the feet, I took a plastic fork and I kind of built this little piece here. This is literally just a piece of cardboard from a little pizza box, like a little Tostino's pizza box. I cut a little piece to cover it. I cut little squares off so you can see it gives it some dimension, some depth. Gave it some little paint. I also did a little strip of cardboard around, and again, it's this like super thin packaging cardboard. I got a couple holes right here. I had these, I just found them at a yard sale, these little backpacks. They go to like a G.I. Joe or something, so I'm gonna put some little backpacks on him. Let's see, oh, some little model parts. It was from a tank, so I just glued that on there to be the little eyeballs, but all in all, it is that, just kind of taken however far you want to take it. So have fun with it. Whatever you make, go ahead and send me some pictures of it. Hit me on Instagram at Dr. Toys, and or put a comment in here with the link of the picture. I'd love to see what you do with yours. And again, have a blast. Make something super awesome. And as always, it's a great day to be a toy nerd.